for me, it's great. I mean, I never thought we'd be able to do this so quickly, and so it's, I mean, especially with a new vocalist. So, yeah, I mean, we've been trying to plan this thing for about 6 months, and originally with Harry, and boy, I don't even know where to start with that story. But long story short, in the middle of April, he decided to leave the project, and within 24 hours, Thomas volunteered to save the day. So we're able to stay on schedule and make this work. The original plan was to come over here and mix the album and get together to rehearse, because we needed band photos, and the only way to do that was to fly everybody to one location. And at the same time, you know, because people found out we were coming, they asked if we would do shows. So all of a sudden, the shows kind of took over the priority. And given the circumstances, with having to, you know, bring in somebody new with 2 months to prepare a whole show, that became the focus. And that's where we're at right now. So we're working on 15 songs. There's 10 on the new album, and then there's 15 songs that are part of the show, and we can't play the album during the show, so that meant a lot of learning Graceful Inheritance and One Small Voice material on short notice. And I guess I'll let Thomas speak to that, because I'm very impressed with what he's done so far.
I didn't expect I was going to rehearse yesterday. My flight was very long, and I was stuck in the airport after this for almost 3 hours. And then I took the metro, which was very long. So I arrived, I didn't assume I would even make it to the rehearsal, but I was like, I'm there. I'm there. My brain is not working fully, so let's just... At least the pressure was off. I knew if I fucked up, I could blame it on the plane, you know? It's crazy, honestly. And the whole thing happened so fast that it took me a while just to digest it. And there's a lot of people back home who thought it was like a late April Fool's joke, you know?
This whole project it's only about 6 or 7 months old that the material started being written. So it's all pretty new. I mean, because with COVID happening, kind of set everything back for 4 or 5 years, and my wife and I were both working from home, and didn't really know that there was going to be anything to follow, because, you know, there was no band essentially, right? And the only reason to reform this whole thing was that we were invited to go to Keep It True last year and try to get Paul Davidson back in shape. So we spent a year trying to do that. And if not for that invitation, the band wouldn't be here now to be in the situation where we could actually get Thomas involved. So it's a series of I guess, some fortune and some misfortune that made the whole thing happen. You know, Paul wasn't able to do what we had hoped with the whole show, so we had to bring in Harry, and then you know, we planned on an album with Harry, but he's got several other projects and a lot of other commitments. And, you know, to be honest, I think a lot of this material was probably pretty hard for him. I mean, you know, Steve Benito's range is really high, and you know, it's difficult for any singer. That's the biggest problem with this band over the years, is that we've always needed a singer that was capable of doing the material, and it's just very hard to find somebody that's got, you know, that kind of a range, and that can do it 2 or 3 days in a row without losing their voice. So, you know, this is like a breath of fresh air to be able to have Thomas do this and like I said yesterday, it totally impressed everyone. Showing up after a 12-hour flight and all kinds of other headaches and just walking in and nailing it. So, yeah, we're very happy. I don't think it's very similar to the last album much at all. We had keyboards the whole time on the last record, and with almost 30 years going by between that and the previous stuff, we've matured. Our tastes have evolved, and what we always try to do is write material that features the vocalist, right? Put the vocalist's best foot forward and write things that are in their range and in their comfort zone. And the odd thing about this album is that this was kind of framed for Harry, and then we discovered that he didn't think it was suitable for his voice. So Thomas was not in mind when we wrote this material. But it was designed for vocals to try to dominate and be the focal point, right? We want to be supportive and have musical impact behind a really strong melody and a really strong vocal presence. Mm-hmm. So we're just incredibly fortunate that Thomas has thrown his hat in the ring to take on the challenge, and he's excelling at it. He's very, it's very impressive. So I think it'll actually be better now than with just about anybody else I could think of, because I'm hearing Thomas do things to our old material that are better than what was there for 40 years.
Oh, thank you.
So.
I hope so. That wasn't discussed, but
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I've asked him if he wants to add guitar to things in the future, or there's more time to work things out. Whatever you want to do, man, I'm in.
So, I saw my name on Metal Archive, so I said, I'm assuming that.
Exactly.
Oh, they've already added you there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, then I didn't even have to ask the question. It's already written in stone.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've always dreamed of being in a good band and finding out what a real tour is like, and I've never really had a chance to do that much since the very first tour of Europe in 1986. I think we were over here for 5 or 6 weeks, and we played a few different countries, only 12 shows, but at that point we thought, well, this is just the beginning, right? And then that was it. I mean, the band only played 4 or 5 shows, the One Small Voice lineup, locally around the Seattle area as we were writing material, and by the time the album came out, everything had dissolved. So, everything for the last 25 years has been trying to reunite things for the sake of representing the old material. And it took a long time to find a vocalist willing to do the work for another album, and Will was ready to do that in 2016. He'd volunteered to come in and fill in for a couple of shows, and decided that he wanted to continue doing it and work on an album. So, I mean, I'm really proud of what we ended up accomplishing in 2018 with that album, in that circumstance. But yeah, the whole thing is finding people that it's kind of easy to find people to come in and learn a bunch of stuff that's already written for a special event. Like, to recruit somebody to go to Europe for a couple of weeks, it's not difficult to do, because there's a prize, right? You get to go on a trip, and you learn a few songs, you go on a trip. It's easy to find people to volunteer to do that. It's much harder to find people that are ready to put in the commitment and the time to do something new and something original and put their heart and soul into it. And that's always been the difficulty is, you know, you can see potential in people and you can try to bring them in and convince them to participate, but you can't make anybody do anything they don't really want to do. You know, if their heart's not into it, it doesn't matter what kind of potential you see, they're not going to live up to it unless they want to. And so I've spent a lot of time being extra patient with people for years and years and years, hoping that they would, you know, get involved and stay involved. And it just, you know, one way or the other, it just doesn't happen. Life gets in the way. People have family commitments, work commitments, you know, and I had those as well. But yeah, it's, I mean, this is a hard thing to do. And there's no guarantee of making a dime. You know, so you spend a lot of money and you spend a lot of time and you do a lot of work and you cross your fingers and hope for the best. And we've just finally got to the point where I think last year the shows we did with Harry and Paul, it's the first time that the band went on a trip ever and paid all the bills and made a little bit of money, you know. So I mean, we sold enough merchandise to have a little bit of money afterwards. And, you know, like I said, it's the first time in 40 years that that's happened. So this opportunity this year, you know, we're crossing our fingers that it works out well, and you know, we're getting the album done. We're kind of forcing some things to happen, you know, but that's what it takes, right? You hustle, you make things happen, and you hope for the best. And if you've got the right people involved, it can work. And you know, by all sense, I think we've got the right people involved.
Terry said that this lineup, he's very confident in it. So I hope that with the album, like we can pull it off. And I want to make the best record possible. And there's songs on there that I've heard and I said I prefer it even over the classic stuff. And my favorite used to be Dragon's Lair, but now when the new album is going to be out, there's going to be a new favorite for me. I'm a bit biased, but not that much, honestly. And I hope for those shows, my hope is to, you know, honor the legacy of a band that's been there before my parents even met, you know. So I need to go there and like honor the band. But I'm very confident. And personally, I just want to keep making music. I'm having fun. Every time I talk to people back home, I just tell them I want to accumulate stories for when I have grandkids and I can tell them on Christmas, you know? No, because some of these songs I've sung a lot, even younger. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's on the Noor's first album, where I stole one part from the clock. Like so it's you know, so it's like there's a song called Hoodlum on the first album of Noor, and there's a part that's very similar to something on the clock. So the pressure is there because I have to perform well, but at the same time I'm not like unfamiliar with the stuff. So I had like already a bit of advance, and I already sung. I did a demo for Tear Down the Walls, and I chose this one because it's like I sung it so much, so I was like it's gonna be very easy for me.
When I look into the future, I just feel really good to have an opportunity to find a young vocalist with a lot of talent, and he's a great guitar player as well. I don't know what the future brings for this band. I just know that we want to put our heart and soul into something and make as good a music as we possibly can. And if this band lasts for 6 months or 6 years, that's great. I'm going to feel good knowing that I've done something to assist him in his musical future. It's just going to feel good to be a part of that, because I expect him to go on to big things long after I retire.
We the people face the challenge in our eyes. Appearances of a fiscal man. We the people share our destiny, and the time is now to take care.
Well, it's pretty easy to assume that they would be. Most of the, and that's the thing about being an independent band, right? Kim Harris was going to be our manager. We were slated to be the second project after Queensryche, and we were ready in 1984 to record the album. And Queensryche got really popular, really busy, really fast, and they insisted that Kim and Diane Harris give them their 100% attention. So 2 weeks before we were supposed to go into to record the album in 1984, they backed out. So I'd already booked the time in the studio, so I went to my parents and I borrowed $3,000, and we cut the budget back and just recorded the 5-song demo in 1984 to try to pick up the pieces and build something ourselves from that point forward. But yeah, if Graceful Inheritance would have come out in 1984 as scheduled, with management and the label connections with EMI and things that they had with Queensryche, yeah, who knows what could have happened. We might have had some success. A lot was changing in those days in a 2-year period of time. If anybody thinks Graceful Inheritance was any kind of a landmark in '86, imagine 2 years earlier, right? So, but it's all speculation, right? And at this point, I can daydream, but it doesn't really do me any good, right? So I have to be realistic about it, and think that, maybe we just weren't quite good enough to get the attention from people in 1984 that we needed. And even in 1986, we had to go to an independent label, and just be thankful that people took interest, and be thankful that what did happen happened and gave us this opportunity all these years later. I can't really say that I've got any regrets about it, because if it wasn't for the fans and the underground thing that they put behind this band, we wouldn't be here now. So I'm just very thankful. Well, there was no music business in Seattle back then. So there was 6 or 7 or 8 really good metal bands, and Culprit started it all back in '81, '82. But there was no infrastructure. There was no interest in original music. The promotion and production companies for music up in Seattle back then only cared about top 40 bands. We couldn't get any interest from the LA labels. Nobody cared about it. And when we were meeting with Metal Blade Capital for the One Small Voice negotiations a year before the album came out, they were sending up people to look at bands, kind of pre-arranging the grunge movement. They would receive a black and white photograph from some band that looked cool, and they would sign them. They would come up to Seattle, and when we met with one of the reps for Metal Blade, they were up there to watch a band that was so strung out on heroin they couldn't even play. And it's 1988, right? Well before the grunge thing took off. Hollywood planned that whole thing. And, there was, Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, all those bands were brewing and growing. I mean, they're legitimately great bands, right? But it's the business that decided to take interest in Seattle, and that's where they put their focus, and then they were able to grab these bands and capitalize on them and create the machinery that made it all work. When we were around, all LA cared about was Poison and Motley Crue and, you know, the glam stuff, right? So, you know, we went through that phase where we put on spandex for 6 months because we thought that, you know, that's what you got to do, right? And so, you know, we didn't know. We're just making things up as we go, trying to do whatever it takes to get the attention. But yeah, that's the critical thing about timing too, right? People in LA had some affiliations with things. They were planning the Singles movie. They orchestrated the bands. They created this whole grunge thing. And, you know, and nobody in Seattle cares about what's happening in Seattle until New York tells us it's cool. So when Pearl Jam goes back east and does a bunch of touring and stuff, and then New York suddenly says, hey, gee, there's something brewing in Seattle, then all of a sudden people care. We're just a few years too late. So it's kind of ironic that most of those grunge bands went through their thing and came and went. There's a couple still around, but you know, the original metal bands that were there from 82 to 86, 87, I mean, 5 or 6 of us are still active after all these years. But that's because of the devotion of the underground. You know, and some of them have had, you know, I mean, Metal Church and Sanctuary, Nevermore. I mean, some of those people have had great success. So, you know, it's, again, speculating on what ifs, you know, it's not going to change where we're at. All we can try to do is now make a great record and hope for the best and just go out and play as well as we can and hope people respond.